Alrighty, we have the DAUNTE RIGHT arrest, shooting, and subsequent riots. Now, this is a tragic situation with errors on all sides, to say the least. The 19-year-old father, hardly a child except compared to Hunter Biden, I guess. DAUNTE WRIGHT was not pulled over for an air freshener, as was originally stated by his mother, which he told her, and seems to be circulating the sillier minds on social media, but was in fact pulled over for a gross misdemeanor warrant, because he was originally charged with aggravated armed robbery, having a pistol without a permit, and fleeing the police. He then skipped his court date, and the altercation with the cops was his next, and sadly his last run-in with the law. But he was resisting, as you can see from the video. The cops can even be heard almost pleading with him seconds before he decides to fight them, saying, "Don't do it," repeatedly. But unfortunately, he didn't listen and begins fighting the police officers in an attempt to break away from them and grab something or an escape. I always wonder where to, you know? Where to? For how long? And what, so you can get caught in a month and get twice the jail time? Huh? Then, what seems to be an accident or a complete negligence, or perhaps both, taking no responsibility away from the police officers. But as they are actively fighting DAUNTE WRIGHT, one of the officers pulls what she thinks is her taser, but is actually her own service pistol, and can be heard saying firstly, "Taser, taser, taser," warning others of what she thinks is about to happen, before firing one lethal shot and then almost whimpering, "Oh no, I shot him," when she realizes she discharged her lethal weapon. Now, as I said, it seems like there were errors on all sides, with DAUNTE's prior criminal behavior, brandishing weapons in social media posts, and then actively resisting arrest, attempting to jump in his car to flee or grab something, all adding to the context of the arrests now. You have the officers allowing the tussle to take place back in the car after they already had him outside of the vehicle, and the officer under pressure, either not having the training, which is impossible unless 20 years in the force doesn't train you enough, and then we definitely need more funding and training. Not defunding. Or perhaps she didn't have the calmness to execute her plan under pressure, and sadly not execute the suspect. This is all taking place against the backdrop of the Floyd Chauvin trial, so tensions were already high. But Antifa, Black Lives Matter, and other cultural extremists have used this opportunity, of course, to erupt in rioting in many cities around the country that very night, and also attacking ICE facilities and police headquarters. With this now being the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 10th month, depending on when you're watching, of rioting so far, 40 plus people have been arrested. There have been widespread looting, shooting, arson, and assaults, police officers injured with projectiles. Remember those concrete barriers of peace and fencing, the pink barbed wire? Yeah, well, those have been put up again around the New York Police headquarters and other tactical buildings. All of this while being hilariously called peaceful protests by nearly all of the mainstream media, with the top Google answers about rioting mentioning riots in Ireland right now. And the Capitol riots 3 months ago at the top of the page. I mean, are they out of their fucking minds? Now, one of the silliest and most cartoonish moments of the whole situation was Mayor Mike Elliott, in fact, tweeting about the, quote, peaceful protests, seriously, while also posting a picture of him talking to the press wearing a fucking army helmet, showing just how farcical the narrative being crammed down everyone's throats really is. This is also a city that months before voted to defund the police, which surely has had an effect on training, manpower, effectiveness, response times, and let alone riot management, all things they could use right now, along with a force to tackle the regular, the normal, regular, serious crime that is skyrocketing ever more in every dense city around the country. Even stranger, the Brooklyn City Center manager was fired after making a public call to remember the importance of due process. Remember that thing in the Constitution. Remember that? That's all he wanted when regarding this officer. Fired. So I guess both he and due process, been slung out the window. But this narrative from the left, the Democrats, and the mainstream media is beginning to crumble. As Charles Barkley correctly stated before, the world freaked out and he was cancelled, that they are using this narrative to push an agenda to divide the people. Segregation via race, sex, religion, agenda, and get them all fighting one another. We have completely different realities adopted by opposing sides of the political sphere, one based in truth and one a biased lie. trying to exist at the same time, causing chaos amongst its society and its citizens. This floundering mainstream media pushing as hard as it can for power, both political and financial, before it collapses. With most mainstream media companies barely competing today with the independent journalists and the websites where real journalism is allowed to shine and thrive. That is, if Google can't stop it first. But this was a tragic accident, with many mistakes on all sides, but now the people, the regular citizens, will have to feel the full effect of the culture war once again as it attacks their daily lives. I mean, what will happen, huh?